Thank you for joining us during this short tutorial, the fifth in a 10-part Data 101 series. By the end of all 10 sessions, you will have a working knowledge of how to build an Excel template to collect and filter quality improvement intervention data. In this series, we will build a sample Excel template together that uses patient coaching for illustration purposes. However, Excel could be used in this way to collect data on other interventions as well. Depending on your level of Excel expertise, you may choose not to listen to all 10 sessions. If you are new to collecting data, a few other skills to learn that would highly complement this series would be the Plan, Do, Study, Act, or PDSA cycle, and SMART goals. By the end of Session 5, you will be able to start building the data entry portion of a worksheet, change text alignment within cells, and insert and delete rows and columns. To give you a preview, the skills covered will progressively build a tool like this. Let's get started. I'm going to begin building the entry page. This is where most of the activity occurs, not only in building the worksheet, but it's also where those that would use this spreadsheet would spend most of their time. The Instructions and Definitions tab are primarily for reference, whereas the entry page holds the functionality. Prior to designing the data collection information, whether it's for coaching or other interventions, it's imperative to collaborate with your leadership team to identify which pieces of data you would like to collect and why. Hear more about this in the Session 10 conclusion. How will you put the measures in place to ensure data is accurate, complete, and timely? Will it help you identify if your process is working as designed? What will help you paint a picture and evaluate if your intervention is getting you to the intended short or long-term goal? Excel has limitless advanced functions beyond what we'll cover in this series that allow you to build really neat formulas, graphs, and visual reports. Typically, corporate executives and financial officers are adept at utilizing the advanced function features of Excel. And once you have an idea of what you'd like to build graphs and reports on, those individuals can likely be a great resource for that. Even without these advanced graphs and reports, there are still some great ways to evaluate and filter your information that we will be covering in the remaining sessions in this series. In order to save time with entry during the demonstration, I'm going to use the cut and paste command we covered in Session 4. Down here in row 25, I've entered the names of all of the data fields I'd like to capture. I'm going to move them all to the top row. Now, I'll make them more visible by using some tips we've covered in prior sessions. First, I'll bold row 1. These are often called headers. I've also ordered these items I would like to collect. Columns A through H contain demographic information, so I'll shade those cells blue. I through F is coaching information. I'll shade those green. And T through W is 30-day rehospitalization information. I'll make those orange. I also want to wrap text. Next, I'll add borders between all of my titles. Remember that we can ask the system to auto-adjust the width of all columns by selecting here and using the Format Cell button. There may still be some adjusting you'll want to do to the column widths based on how the system has auto-formatted them. This button on the Home tab changes the direction of the text within a cell. It is particularly useful when data entered under that heading is short but the title of the column is long. For instance, column I is a yes/no field, so the column doesn't need to be very wide, but we still want to see the entire title. The last thing I'll do to visually separate the three areas is add a section heading above the column titles. You can insert or delete rows and columns anywhere within a worksheet to avoid having to cut and paste a lot of information. I'm going to add a row above what is currently A1 by right-clicking on the row number 1 and clicking Insert. By default, the system will add the row above where you have selected. To add a column, first select the column and then right-click and choose Insert. Delete rows, columns, and cells the same way. If you only have a cell selected and you right-click to insert, it will ask you what you want to do. I'm going to merge and shade the areas above the column title groupings. I'll title the blue shaded items Demographics, the green shaded items Coaching, and the orange shaded items 30-day rehospitalizations. And last, I'll center and bold the text. Now, use the zoom slider to see more of the worksheet on one screen. And notice how these headings separate each shaded area. This concludes session 5. The first link listed here will take you to the Microsoft training on Excel if you are on a version other than what we have used to demonstrate through the series. If you are interested in building on what you have learned today, be sure to look at the additional sessions in this Data 101 series. Also, remember that understanding PDSA and SMART goals will provide great foundational framework when you are in the phase of determining which data to collect. Thank you for viewing this video tutorial.